The Board of Education will now come to order. Ms. Weaver, would you please call the roll?
Mr. Davis?
Here.
Mr. Payne?
Here.
Ms. Davis?
Here.
Mr. Parks?
Here.
Ms. Ellis?
Here.
Mr. Worthy?
Here.
Mr. Williams?
Here.
Mr. Huff? Ms. Thornton?
Here.
Okay, thank you very much. At this time, I'd like for you to stand, join us in a moment of silent meditation, and we'll follow that with the Pledge of Allegiance. Thank you. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, and justice for all.
Do we have any amendments to the agenda? No amendments tonight, President Williams? Don't have any amendments, so I have a motion to adopt the agenda. Moved by Mr. Payne, got a second from Ms. Davis. All in favor of adopting the agenda? Thank you very much. That's a unanimous vote. Okay, recognition of achievements and awards. Anissa?
Good evening, Mr. President, Mr. Superintendent, and members of the board. Tonight, I am pleased to honor many outstanding individuals from the Clarke County School District. Honorees, when I call your name, please come forth, accept your certificate, and shake the board members' hands. Tonight, we are very pleased to present our inaugural Volunteer of the Year Award. Do we have Ms. Helen Wilkes here this evening? Ms. Wilkes, come on up. And if you could just stand here. We had several nominations given across the district for Volunteers of the Year, and I would like to read to you what Gwen Bailey of Cleveland Road Elementary School had to say about Ms. Wilkes, and I think that you'll wholeheartedly agree that she is most deserving to not only win this, but to kick this off as our inaugural recipient. She's been a volunteer at Cleveland for 4 years. If our society was filled with citizens like Helen Wilkes, how much better life would be for all of us. Helen, retired from the University of Georgia Library System, has helped at Cleveland Road Elementary for several years. On a weekly basis, she shelves books, helps students and staff find materials, completes library clerical tasks, and offers sound advice on library administrative issues. Not only is she always pleasant, she takes on the tasks no one else wants to tackle, like reading the shelves and doing inventory. These are her normal volunteer duties. However, Helen isn't satisfied with just helping out. To promote the book fair, she sponsors a daily book drawing for 2 students. By the end of the week, she has purchased books for 10 students, usually a few more for the media center, and sometimes books for staff. During the fall and spring book fair, she helps set up and take down the fair and run the fair. On family nights, she brings in refreshments and helps run games for the students. At the Battle of the Books competition, she keeps time and scoring for the elimination rounds. She has also helped out at the annual toy and clothing swap. She often recruits others to help at these events as well. Seeing the need for more volunteers, she has brought in a friend who now works 1 day a week in the media center. When students were involved in a birding project, she purchased bird feeder kits for the students to put together and found bird experts to come in and talk with the students. Fresh flowers from her garden make the school's office a more cheerful place for the office staff and guests. The work Helen has done in the Library Media Center has helped tremendously since the loss of the paraprofessional position. These are only a few of the wonderful things Helen does for others. She has become a substitute grandmother for her neighbors' grandkids and their friends. She picks up these students from school and transports them to after-school activities. How I wish every child had a Helen to enrich their lives. When you're at Helen's house, you're not watching television. You're doing art projects. You might be doing that at my house, but not at Helen's house. You're doing art projects, science experiments, and making gifts for others. The phrase, "it takes a village," probably best sums up her view of life. When we work together and help each other, life is easier easier for all, and you have helped lighten the load for hundreds and made a life in the difference for hundreds of individuals. And that is why we present to you today a crystal apple, and we will also over this next week have a plaque that will always remain in this board office with your name. So congratulations. So if you would please stand.
Support system too. Congratulations and thank you.
And next, we'd like to recognize our Hot Rodders team from Cedar Shoals High School. The Cedar Shoals High School Hot Rodders engine team traveled to Joliet, Illinois, July 9th and 10th to attempt to qualify for national competition. In practice, they built the engine in well under the magic 35-minute time. However, in the actual competition, they missed the national time by less than 1 minute. The organization was extremely proud of us, however, as they had never seen a team that has competed for only 4 months and been in only 2 competitions score as well as we did. And their coach, Dave Darden, said, "I was so very proud of our students, and we know that we will qualify this year in February at the competition at Atlanta Motor Speedway." So tonight we'll recognize the students. Brandon Crawley, if you could go around. Ricky Hamilton, congratulations. Billy Monteroso, get that one to you. Miranda Reed. Amira Thompson Carter. Okay. Aza Wynn. And their great coach, Dave Darden. Thank you.
Young people, we appreciate you very much.
You've been amazing. Thank you very much.
Thanks so much.
Thank you very much.
An awesome
It's
thing
my
to
pleasure to
do.
do it.
Thank you.
It's very welcome. That's fantastic. Thank you so much.
And finally, also from Cedar Shoals High School, we have a group of national Fbla competition winners. The Cedar Shoals High School Future Business Leaders of America marketing team, Angelina Choi, Claudia Gaither, and Tricia Hariani recently won 3rd place in the nation for marketing. The entire state of Georgia really did great, winning 75 placements within the top 10 of many events and a national Fbla president. They really enjoyed their trip to Chicago, and we want to recognize the students. Are any of them here this evening? All right. Are you Tricia? You're Claudia? I've been recognizing them since they were in elementary school, but they come all the time. And of course, their coach, Miss Cynthia Williams. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks for making it happen.
Fantastic job. Thank you so much. Thank you for all you do.
Tonight's recognitions and achievements are a clear illustration of why it takes our students, our teachers, our leaders, and our community to make us what we are today. Thank you all for continuing to make us proud to be CCSD.
And I certainly agree. We think we transition into the new year and we'll start something new. But what a great way to kick off the year. And first, Cedar Shoals, a great night for Cedar Shoals. So congratulations, Cedar Shoals, but certainly to our Fbla and thank you for starting up our new Hot Rodders Club. And yeah, we got to take you up. We got to make this work for us and for our volunteers and the adults. So it's a total effort. It's a great way to kick off 2015-16 for sure. Thank you.
Okay, Dr. Lanu,
Oh, we got someone else?
you can continue the superintendent's report. Okay, superintendent's report. We're going to do a couple things. First is just talking about the opening of school, and you know we could spend lots of time. We did a lot last week in talking about our facilities, and I just want to thank Ted Gilbert and John and Joe for their work. Certainly, as we got Whitehead and Clarke Central going, it was pretty incredible. And right now, when I talk about the opening of school, we're going to do something a little bit different, and we're going to have our new executive directors report. I'm just making sure do we have someone else? No, we're going to stop right now. We're going to stop right now because we have someone else. And no, hold on. We want to give you your due. Hold it. You know, if you're a hot rodder, we got to give you your due. I mean, seriously, if you build engines, we're stopping.
We have Amira Thompson-Carter, also from the Hot Rodders team at Cedar Shoals.
This is great. I love it. Great t-shirt. Great t-shirt.
Great job. Congratulations.
Super work. Congratulations.
So superintendent's report is the opening of school, and can't be more befitting than to have our two new executive directors talk to us about the opening of school. As you recall, we reorganized our structure as how we could best support schools and principals for school improvement. I could not be more pleased, and I know Dr. Tavernier feels the same, and our whole team, about having Angela Hardiman and Dr. Gant join us in these positions. But what they bring right now to our organizations, to schools, is something we thought we had, but now we watch what they do and we know we didn't have it the way they did. So I'm going to let's get Angela Hardiman and Monica Gant, our executive directors, talk about the opening of schools, elementary, secondary.
Thank you to President Worthy, Dr. Lanou, and our board members. This is our school opening report. Our primary focus for teaching and learning will be to assure that all students achieve at high academic levels through our common commitments. Everything that we do as it relates to planning, instruction, assessment, the learning environment, and communication will directly improve student achievement. We are committed to working within the schools to do everything possible for the children in this community. So here are some of the highlights for our school year so far. In preparation for the beginning of the year, it was imperative that we provide our staff with the tools needed to align their school improvement process work with the Clarke County School District commitments. On July 21st and 22nd, our principals and assistant principals attended our annual leadership retreat with sessions aligned to our 5 focus areas, providing strategies to 1, develop and implement a collaborative planning model to improve student achievement using key components of the district's commitments for high student performance. 2, create innovative instructional strategies using digital tools. 3, develop personalized supports through the response to intervention process to ensure that all students are meeting or exceeding standards in all content areas. 4, to design opportunities to engage student creativity and interest. And 5, develop positive learning environments that support the social, emotional development and physical well-being of students. An integral part of our work is addressing the lowest quartile of students with the goal of closing the achievement gap. To support fidelity of intervention implementation, we provided school leaders with strategies to monitor the response to intervention, or RTI, process. This process assists schools in developing a comprehensive program of instructional and support services to meet all students' individual needs through the 4 action steps that are critical to accomplishing the improvement strategy. And they are clearly defined intervention options at each tier and the criteria for moving from one tier to another. Review interventions to ensure that they are carefully planned, coordinated, and data-driven with consistency across the district. Review, revise, or eliminate ineffective interventions. and increase or improve the number of academic and behavioral interventions based on best practices, research, and data. By following this RTI protocol of administering universal screeners, implementing the interventions based on results, and utilizing real-time progress monitoring, our administrators are prepared for leadership in determining effective interventions and implementation supports for all students.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Our instructional services team, made up of the district-level content coaches and specialists, along with classroom teachers, work throughout the summer to ensure increased instructional capacity, high-quality training, and learning and development opportunities for all staff to support continuous improvement in the Clarke County schools. On July 29th through 31st, over 160 new teachers participated in orientation sessions that familiarized them with the many teaching resources available in the Clarke County School District, and over 1,200 teachers participated in a week full of pre-planning and professional learning activities at the school and district levels. These professional learning days included opportunities that range from the Reboot Camp that prepared teachers for the one-to-one Chromebook technology rollout to development of school improvement strategies to guide instructional practices in each building. Also included in the district-level professional learning activities were a new K-2 resource manual to support the Math Common Core Georgia Performance Standards and a rollout of new 3rd through 5th grade English arts curriculum. Revision of K-12 curriculum maps, the addition of digital resources to curriculum units to support our one-to-one digital learning initiative in reading and math, content-specific professional learning on creativity and inquiry, concept-based lessons, document-based questions, and developing international baccalaureate middle years program lessons which help our students compete globally as they become more critical and reflective thinkers and well-versed in international issues. 3rd through 8th grade teachers receive training on the use of Waggle, a new personalized learning program which provides practice of reading and math skills using digital tools while informing instruction with intuitive, real-time reporting. Students were also prepared for the beginning of school. All open houses and orientations were well planned and well attended, as schools were creative in engaging families and preparing students for success. Ice cream socials, new student orientations, and even school festivals provided parents and students the opportunity to meet staff and become familiar with the school's focus and goals. The administration and staff were positive and ready to begin school with the opening of the new Whitehead Road Elementary School. Staff was well prepared as parents and students walked in with bright smiling faces at the ice cream social and on opening day. All hands have been on deck for a successful start. Additional staff as well as businesses and community partners have been available to support new schools and programs as well as schools that are under construction. At the Career Academy, community and business partners are even facilitating various sessions designed to prepare the 150 students that are enrolled for success in their college level courses. Because of this collaborative approach, attendance was high and students were engaged from the moment they entered school. We have had an outstanding start to the school year, and we have positioned our building leaders, teachers, and students for great success. Through our district-level professional learning sessions and school-level collaborative planning process, we are confident that we will see great results for every student. Thank you.
Maybe it's a time for, well, you can kind of see now what role they're playing.
Yes.
You can hear by
Yes.
this report. Angela, is there questions? Do you want questions from anyone?
We won't do that to them on
No,
the first report.
But really, thank you for the report, because as you can see, of course, they're talents, but the structure allows that interface with principals and their school improvement teams on a much more regular, focused basis, because we got secondary, we got elementary, they get different needs. And so they really become we've really increased the contact space between our work. And it's already proven to be just tremendous. But you got to have the right people in the right places, so that's why.
Correct.
One question. You had mentioned the Career Academy and the attendance was very good.
Very
What-
good.
What Do you have an enrollment figure?
Yeah, it's around
right now?
We had 150 students, and on the first day, all but 6 students were there. And on the second day, an additional 2 students showed up, and we believe we had the full enrollment by the 3rd day.
And I'd like to add that I had an opportunity, one of you mentioned, I think you, Ms. Harder has mentioned the 160 new teachers. I had an
Yes.
opportunity to greet and welcome those new teachers. And also on my way out, I had individual conversations with some, and seemingly they are full of energy.
They are.
I like
They
that.
are.
Great.
Well,
Ready to go.
it's been a great start, and I couldn't say it any better than Angela and Monica, so thank you.
Thank you.
So is that the new count for the teaching staff, is 160 new staff?
We're at about 160 right now.
Yes.
And that counts parapros as well?
No, that's just.
Certified teachers.
Yes.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you, ladies.
Good.
Well, we also have a new face, and do you want to, just since we're here,
From here.
no, go to the podium. and,
Oh, okay.
You can make it a little more formal.
Can you get by?
Yeah, well, you're here,
Can be
so.
somewhat challenging to get a
New faces, we got to share new faces.
I'd like to introduce the new principal assistant principal for Coyle Middle School, Miss April Braswell. She's coming to us from Walton County Schools. She was a teacher with us here from 2002 to 2004, I think under the supervision of Mr. Worthy. So we're just so pleased to have her here. She's doing an outstanding job.
Come around and shake
Great,
hands.
great. Oh, you want to shake hands? Come shake hands.
Oh, yeah.
Did you have a question, Ms. Thornton? Did you have a question?
I did, but I can wait till we shake hands.
Sorry.
Thank you for coming back.
Welcome. Oh, what you ready to do? That's what happens when you sit up here, you know?
You're welcome.
Welcome. Thank you so much.
Glad to have you.
Coming to the board meeting. It's a pleasure to meet you.
My apologies, Ms. Thornton, you had a question?
Well, it's really, it's not a question for today, but I just want to put it out there now. I am interested in the 160 people that we've hired. So I will have some questions down the road. I just want to put that out. I haven't talked to you. I've always said I was going to talk to you.
Yeah, if you could get those to me, and so we can.
But I do think that I do have some questions.
Right, okay. Dr. Tavernier, could you give an update on our True North Logic? See, I sort of told him about it, now we can do that. But several large projects that we have. One was obviously our school improvement planning process. The other, of course, the large one was True North Logic's work with building out our platform.
Sure. We, as you may recall, we have contracted with True North Logic to basically develop and host our teacher and leader evaluation system, along with several other components, including My Learning Plan and our professional development software, so that teachers and leaders ultimately have a one-stop shop for their entire professional portfolio. So actually in the last 2.5 weeks or so, we spent 2 full days, we meaning Dr. Lanou, Dr. Freeman, Mrs. Duke, and myself, Sally Cepeda, Tim Jarbo, really kind of basically hold up down in the hallway trying to get school ready and work on this platform. And we really, over the course of 2 full days, designed the entire platform in terms of its structure. Adam Kurtz from Chase came in as well for some input, and really designed the entire platform, sequenced the way the platform was going to look, and gave them a few of the components. Since then, we've spent really the last 2 weeks really developing our teacher evaluation system, including identifying the standards, developing the rubric, aligning the standards and rubric to the existing documents that we had, and then providing that to True North Logic to import into the platform so we could try it out and see how it looked. We, as late as, 4:15 today, we're working on the leader keys, the leader evaluation system, and doing the same thing as well. So it's been a race and a ride, but we're making really good progress, and our goal is to have it actually live by September 1st.
Right. And I would say just a lot of good work of really under tight timelines, but sometimes I think all the pieces were there as
They
really
were.
pulling it together and getting that final document. Sometimes you do that best work when you say we're going to get here and get it done, but I will tell you our teacher keys, evaluation performance standards as well as observable practices aligned to our
Commitments.
It's really tight. And we'll get the final piece. I'll send you that final copy. It went out to teachers, probably saw the performance standards and rubrics, but we feel really good about that. And our work with leader keys is we're very close.
Yeah.
But it really brings us back to where our evaluation system was 4 years ago that we liked. I think what we're able to do is melt some of those pieces into what we were doing, and in the end, I think with this platform, we could be in a better position in this upcoming year. Well, it's really the platform we have will do what we wanted to do with our own, and it aligns to our language. So I think we're going to be in a really good place with this. Plus, Tim Jarbo also just, what you don't realize is you have to put together handbooks and video and training videos, and those are in. We've got them.
Yeah, we're ready to go.
And sent the letter to the state outlining what those standards are. Sent that out today.
Good.
That's good.
Okay, great.
Is this
Thanks.
so is this is in compliance with the state's evaluation system
Yep.
completely? And is this basically, even if our charter is approved, that we would just
This really,
run with
it
this?
really isn't as tightly connected to the charter. The charter was more tightly connected on the SLOs, which was which was the evaluation growth measures.
Okay.
The observable practices we mentioned, those were just exemplars. We had crosswalked the standards before. I had talked to the State Department about them. I think we're in a really good place, but it really probably isn't going to be driven by the charter. That's going to be more on the growth measure side. This is just an observable practice side. So there's two sides of the evaluation: what you observe and see, and then what the growth from test scores give you.
Student performance.
We've done this part separate, but this one will require the charter.
Then the big charter piece is the Lexile.
That's the slow. Yeah, that would be the slows. So yeah, that would be the growth measure. Okay, great. Thanks, Mark. And the other, of course, big piece is that we have Parent Link. We're just finalizing those details now before we roll it out. You know, as you get pretty complex systems, you just got to make sure it matches up with your database, and we're pretty close to that. Hopefully, we'll have that all in place next week to move out for the app. The app has been built. It's a CCS app. Actually, you can even go get it. You can go get the app. If you did CCSD app, you'll find it. It just isn't live yet, right to our system, if I'm correct. Would that be correct? Is it live, Lynn?
It's ready.
It's
Just need to search Clarke County School District.
Oh, you can now.
Download.
Okay,
Yes.
there you go. So it's there. But that hopefully will be in its full rollout next week. That would be our goal. So those are some major projects we had this year. So I think that does it for my report. And I guess just an FYI to the board. Not that this would be different than what you thought I would respond to, but I was at a panel in Atlanta on Wednesday about the changing landscape in terms of school performance. And when it got to the crowd's comment, of course, the first comment was your opinion on the Opportunity School District model. And just so people know that I did not support the Opportunity School District model, which you know in this room I would not. And when people ask me, I am very open about that there's a different way of doing business. So in case that comes up, you'll know what I responded when I was asked that question, and there were others. But it went really well, and I have to give a lot of credit to those putting on the panel. They were very supportive of the work of Clarke County throughout the state. So it was very good. So, all right, we're good.
We ready to move to item E, board reports?
Whoop.
One thing I just wanted to mention to the board, because this will happen prior to our next board meeting, Dr. Lanu will be filmed in a documentary as the National Superintendent of the Year. Live Touch is coming, and that will be at the end of this month. So you will see a film crew around Athens for Dr. Lanu.
Thanks, Anissa.
Wonderful.
We're
Good.
I'll smile.
That's great. That's
You know, and we also have a film crew coming in from the School Improvement Network. We're going to speak out at a conference in Salt Lake City, and that got moved, but they were so intrigued with our work. They're actually sending a professional film crew to do a documentary on Clarke County and its community on the work that they've done over the last 5 or 6 years that they will show nationally. But they were so intrigued with that story. They're sending a film crew in
September.
middle of September. So yeah, it's a film month. But it's good work. Thank you, Anissa. Yes.
Yes,
Done. Mr. Worley.
Board reports.
David has a comment.
David.
I was just gonna say, there's a consultant if we need help with our opportunity school districts, any schools that
We do
do
that?
work
I
for
do, yes, okay.
$96,000.
Yeah.
I was going to bring that up in my legislative report.
I'm going to stay away from that one, but feel free to comment. But thank you, Board Member Huff.
Okay. Okay, we ready to move forward? GSBA report, Mr. Payne or Ms. Thornton?
Ms. Thornton, she attended, I was not able to attend, but I have a
June,
few words at
okay.
the end.
Okay.
You know, I take notes on everything, and I totally missed this one. But I will tell you that the conversation at GSBA was all in every realm of education, and that is the charter districts, opportunity school districts. I forgot, is it Hardeman, Attorney? Hartley. He is like the bomb. You know, he is like the bomb.
Yes.
And he really broke it down without taking sides, so nobody, you know, but he really gave you all the ins and outs that we as a district need to look at. I thought that it's already what I knew, but he really explained it better. And as you know, Valerie Wilson is the new director for GSBA. There was a farewell to Sis Henry. A lot of love poured out. Mr. Payne was not there. I don't know if people know that Mr. Payne is the founder of the spiritual sessions at GSBA. Even though he was not there at 7 o'clock in the morning, the room was packed. So that's when you know you've done a good job beyond. It was still packed even though he was not there. I think we're going to still hear a lot about the charter school. I just hope we just stay ahead of the curve on all this legislation that's coming down. And if I find my notes, when I find my notes, I will send more details. But it was good as usual. But like I said, everybody's really caught up with opportunity districts and the new waivers. That was basically, and we have been well educated. Dr. Lanou has done a good job keeping us.
Yes.
So I felt very educated. I didn't sit there and look like I knew. I did know some stuff.
Yes.
So it was good.
Yeah, that's great.
Ms. Payne?
And all I want to say, I want to add to, 26 years ago, Jerry Studdard was the head of GSBA executive director, and he asked me to serve in that capacity because Jerry Studdard of Oconee County was moving into the vice presidency, and he wanted me. And 26 years ago, I took on that job and worked with him for 16 years. And then Sis Henry came aboard, and she served 14 years and done an outstanding job. I've never seen any organization grow as it did under Sis Henry. And as Ovita said, they did a farewell to her down in Savannah, and I understand it was outstanding. It was well attended by not only school board members, but other people throughout the state to honor her for her outstanding service to the Georgia School Board Association. Those of you that have read your email, you know that Christopher Irvin, GSBA Risk Management Service Director, resigned. And Trudy Sauer, she came back to run the organization until we can find a replacement for him. And you know that Trudy Sauer did an outstanding job. We took in more school system under her leadership than any other leader that we've had. So we're glad to have her back, and she's just serving as interim. And I'm just so happy that Ovita went down to stand in my place, and I understand she's done a great job. I appreciate carrying on the tradition of Clarke County, because we are one of the founding school districts, the only founding school district that was there in 1992 when it was organized.
Thank you, Mr. Payne. Finance Committee, Ms. Williams, you have anything?
No report.
Okay, legislative, I think you have something, Mr. Parks?
Not really a report. I'll just remind everybody we have a meeting on the 18th, and the committee members know that, but the board is certainly invited and welcome to participate with us.
Okay, Policy Committee, Ms. Ellis? Okay, I don't think we have anything from the property committee, do we, Ms. Payne?
Not yet.
Okay, all righty.
It's
Okay.
brewing.
All righty, so we're moving along. Item F, Dr. Lanu.
Sure, just any questions? These are policies and regulations, exhibits to be presented for public view for 4 weeks. Are there any questions?
Don't have any
Barring
questions?
barring none, go to action items,
Absolutely,
minutes.
yes. Okay, we're down to action items. We had, oh wow, 4 meetings. Hopefully you've had an opportunity to review these minutes, and I'll entertain a motion for approval. Got a move by Ms. Thornton, got a second on that? Second by, who is that, Mr. Davis? Okay. Any questions pertaining to the minutes? Any questions pertaining to the minutes? All in favor? Thank you very much. Okay.
All right. Number 2, recommend approval of the financial report for May 2015.
Okay, that's a financial report for May of 2015. Okay. Moved by Ms. Williams, second by Ms. Davis. Any questions pertaining to the financial report? Any questions? All in favor? Thank you very much. Okay. Policies.
Recommend the policies, policy JGFGB on concussion management and the competitive interscholastic activities be adopted, and following that would be the regulation for school facilities, but would need to vote on the first 2. And I'm real pleased to report that both of the high schools have engaged in working through that policy and working in town to get baseline for our sports. You think football would be the most susceptible to concussions, but it really is girls soccer. And but both our ADs are working collaboratively to create baseline information. So I think we're really we're staying ahead of the game, and I thank both of our schools for engaging in that process. And Sharon Penley, the nurse, we picked it up. We're all on board. It's a good thing.
Okay, the recommendation from the superintendent on these 2 policies here. I need a motion on that. Moved by Mr. Parks, got a second from Ms. Davis. Any questions or comments pertaining to these policies? Any questions? I have one comment here, Dr. Lanu, on the concussion management. Of course, you just mentioned some things about that. Item 1, it talks about the prior to the beginning of each season of any extracurricular athletic activity. All parents or legal guardians are students participating, they must be informed by the school pertaining to risk of concussion. And I'm just really concerned about that in terms of whether these people have been informed.
We do, and I think that's even part of the athletic association. So yes, yes, it's all part of our regular routines.
Okay,
Yes,
so
we've been doing that for at least a good year, if not 2.
So they have been informed.
Yes, they
okay.
have been.
Okay. Any other questions or comments? Go ahead, Ms. Payne.
My question is, do they have the latest in the helmet? The best
Yeah.
helmet that?
Yeah, most of your helmet headgear has to be approved. So yes, we those. In fact, I think, and I'm not athletic, but I think they actually have to be reconditioned ever so often, and then with a new certification that they're appropriate. So yeah, that's a definite requirement in terms of our helmets. Okay. Yes.
Let me be sure, did we not have parents' signature on this notification about the concussion?
I haven't. I think it's all part of the permission
Part of
form.
that whole,
Yes.
yeah,
Yes.
thank you, permission form, thank you.
Okay.
We discussed that policy, and by virtue of the fact that parents get a sign-off sheet,
Right.
they just said
Yeah.
that they sign off, they get it
Okay,
out.
I thought so.
Okay. All righty. Any further questions or comments? Hearing none, we voted on the 2 policies now. All in favor? That's a unanimous vote. Thank you very much. Okay. Consent agenda.
Recommend approval of the consent agenda.
Okay. Recommendation
Sorry, I
on
was
the
a
consent
little-
agenda.
a little stuck on that one.
Okay. Got a motion from Mr. Payne, got a second from Ms. Thornton. Okay. All in favor of the consent agenda? Thank you very much. Okay.
Jeez, that was a little slow to draw.
Okay. Item 24, Dr. Lanu.
That this would approve the award for the compensation review analysis of employee compensation to the highest ranked proposer, that's Education Management Solutions, for the amount of $69,995. Funding is from the HR budget. We budgeted for this. In fact, we even are under budget, if I'm if I'm correct. So this is under budget, and we're real pleased to make that recommendation.
Okay, now recommendation from the superintendent on the comprehensive review and analysis of the employee compensation, human resources. Need a motion on that. Moved by Ms. Davis. Got a second from Mr. Huff. Now, we pulled this off the consent agenda last Thursday night, so do we have any questions or discussions on this? All righty then. All in favor? All righty, motion passed. Okay, item 25.
And that's to approve the agreement for the services with District Management Council to analyze special ed staffing and provide scheduling models that adhere to best practices in the annual amount of $50,000 with initial first-year scheduling module of $25,000. Funding will be from the FY1, from our current budget. And that will use a combination of federal, state, and local funds.
Okay, we have a recommendation from the superintendent on agreement for the services of District Management Council, that's DMC, what, $25,000?
It's actually 50 to do the service. We had a 25,000
Okay.
because of the complexities of scheduling
Yeah, I see
to
that.
do that.
We put it last week.
Yeah.
Okay, moved by Mr. Payne. We got a second on that? Second from Ms. Davis. Any questions pertaining to this item? Any questions? All in favor? Thank you. Unanimous votes. Item 26.
Item 26 is to approve the intent to submit a petition to the Georgia Department of Ed to extend the current Athens Community Career Academy charter by 1 year.
Okay, this recommendation is on the intent to submit a petition to extend the charter term, and this is for the Community Career Academy for 1 year. I need a motion on that.
Question, I have a, go ahead.
Put it on.
Make the
now.
motion.
I know
Yeah,
there's
do
some
your thing.
discussion. I'll gladly do
Yeah.
it.
I'll make the motion.
Moved by Ms. Thornton, seconded by Mr. Huff.
Mr.
Okay.
Huff.
All right.
This is Mr.
Okay,
Huff.
now, question, Ms. Thornton.
And so it is to submit the petition for, is it additional year? Is that what we're
Yeah,
saying?
what we had hoped at, and I know if you notice at 4 o'clock, Board Member Davis has some questions, so I'll try to provide you some information on that. What this really does is if we don't submit it, the charter's gone.
That's
And
right.
we were hoping
Yeah.
that we would tag it onto
Yeah.
the existing charter, but this would just extend it for 1 year. The charter itself has to be rewritten in some of that pieces. I think we'll do that with the new governance team because some of that language is just obsolete and some of the metrics aren't that great. But in order for us to at least keep the waiver and the Career Academy intact by its name, all we're just simply is it's like a state put rule. Let's do it for 1 year till we find out what's happening with our charter.
And I guess that's what when we vote on this tonight, and I'm gonna vote for it, so I ain't got to worry about it, I'm gonna vote for it, but, there are gonna be some changes in the wording.
Oh, yeah.
Down
because-
the road.
Yes. We, when we revised this charter app, once we extend it for a year, we just wanted to see what was gonna happen with our district charter, but it has to be reworded because some of those metrics don't exist anymore.
Okay, so if we do this and they agree, it will come back again.
It's only good for 1 year.
Well,
It'll come
okay,
back. It's only good
okay.
for 1 year.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's only good to keep the charter. We thought we'd get by, but they said we gotta renew it.
Okay.
But
I'm just curious to ask, in terms of charters, we're doing this 1 year. J.J. Harris, I was sort of in context of usually when charters are renewed, they're usually renewed for what, 5 or 7 years, right? Or typically, but then this 1 year, is that happening
And
a
the
lot?
reason why is that there are operations around some of the waivers that the charter uses that we have to remain. We chose not to have to renew a separate charter for J.J. Harris because we continue to have the flexibility we need to do the work at J.J. Harris. So we felt, we didn't need to extend that because it wouldn't impact what it's doing today. It would impact the charter program. Because if we didn't have the charter program, we wouldn't have the governance board, we wouldn't have those things intact.
Let me see if I understood that. So J.J. Harris, we do not have to extend because we're still operating within what we're doing today.
And we know that it's
Yeah.
not going to impact what we're doing today.
Exactly.
It only
I got that.
changes the governance structure. We'll extend that with their governance team, but the new governance team will take that charter governance team when
Okay.
it's approved. But there's no other waivers, there's nothing in that program that's going to impact. If we did it in the charter, that we have. It would impact the dual enrollment credits that we have.
Right.
But that's all changing again because of SB 132. So the whole thing has to be revamped just because of new legislation that came out, in July 1. But we felt that given the integrity and how that money was received and, given for the building, we need to keep that charter and its governance team going, especially its place in the community. All right? Greg Davis asked some questions. He sent you some at 4 o'clock today. I don't know if people had seen
I'm sorry
those.
for so late.
Yeah, well, we tried to see if I can respond to that. Because in essence, when the charter, and as you know, we've gone through some iterations, in the initial charter application, there were some metrics in there that really don't function anymore. And probably if I went back to do it again, they're not as well written as they could have been. Nonetheless, they drove us. But, in some of the metrics, the first one was that 100% of the 9th grade students will develop personalized educational learning plans. Well, we do that's law now for everybody. So all of our students do it under House Bill 187. I think the idea at that point with the Career Academy was that the Career Academy kids would have planned, but everyone now has plans. So that's part of a new change in legislation. The second one was the percentage of Career Academy students passing end of course tests will increase by 5 percentage points. Of course, what's interesting about this, they have to be taking an end of course test course to pass it. So I don't know, the fallacy in this in the data is, I don't know if students were taking two course tests and passed one, or they just weren't taking any. But we had in year 2, we were at 67%. We went up to 77%. We were at 71% 2 years ago. I don't know where we are with milestones because we haven't got that back. So we're about that 70. We've increased probably somewhere 5 to 10%, but it's fluctuated.
What was
but
the
again,
last percentage? Was it
72.
72, okay.
But again, I don't know if all students needed to take the end of course test, and I don't know if students took more than one end of course test. The other was to pass all 5 graduation tests. Well, we don't give graduation tests, so that one's null and void. The next measure was graduating high school prepared post-secondary. We were at 100%. All kids passed from the Career Academy. And that's been pretty high along, but our original was 66% target. We've been about 98 to 100. The other one's quite interesting is passing the asset. Well, first it's not the asset, it's the compass test, and that's the entry test. And just so you know about the entry test, and Mark, fill in if I don't get all of it quite right, that it's not a pass-fail. It's you pass certain sections that allow you to either go into the tech certificate program, into a diploma program, or into an associate's degree program. So it's sort of how you score. So I'm assuming our data is collected that I got into one of them.
So you have three, what were the 3?
There's 3 levels.
So it's one
associate. Certain scores allow you to get into a technical certificate program. Another score will allow you to get into a diploma program, and a third score allows you to get into the associate's degree with has stronger, quote, academic, some of the general academic coursework. So our baseline, when we first started the Career Academy, I can tell you how many. I think we had 4. And so, but that was before the Career Academy. It wasn't many. It was because not people had to take it. Now the other piece that's in here is that students can also get into the Career Academy into Athens Tech without taking the compass if they use their ACT score. So they take either one. Mm-hmm. So I wish I could have a better handle on exactly what's happening here. I don't, at least not in this short time. But we had in our first year 275 listed as passing the compass, or some piece. It went up to 330, and then it was down not last year before, it was 133. What we think's happening is many of the students use their ACT scores, because we had more students taking ACT or SAT. We also, when we first started, everybody took it. And then, of course, last year, only one class would take it who's going in. So we don't have time to really look at that number because I'm more in ACT. And I'll come back to our total numbers, and that may give you a sense of what's happening there. The other part was how many students are in the Career Academy. we had in 2012 in dual enrollment credits, just as dual enrollment, so it's both combined, but most of this is the Career Academy, with the exception of a few. In dual enrollment credits, we went from 29 in 2012. We had 29 students in dual enrollment in 2012. Let me do kids. In 2013, it was at 129. In 2014, it was at 124, 116 in 2015, and right now I believe we're at about 150. So we've gone up about 45. Okay. So from the very beginning of dual enrollments, we've gone from 30 at this point to a 150, even though we flatlined for several years.
Okay, so one more time, I'm sorry.
29 dual enrollment credits. So this is an all Career
Right,
Academy.
right.
Dual enrollment. 29 credits were given in 2012. And I think at one point I sent you this chart, but I can certainly resend
I'm sorry.
it. 129 in 2013, 124 in 2014, 116 in 2015, and at this point it looks like we're about at 150. Now here's the piece, so you have to the number of dual enrollment credits given, right, for these students. The number has gone from, give me just a minute. Sorry, here we are. Total credits earned, dual enrollments. 2012 was 84. 2013 was 347.5. 2014 was 372.5. And last year was 424.5. So the number of actual credit students are earning has gone up substantially. So we'll wait to see what that means next year. So the other information was, excuse me, I think there was one other question about partners, and that is to identify the current documented workforce needs. We work with how many partners we have. We work really with Athens Tech, because it's really Athens Tech partners, and we were at 135 partners, business partners, connects with Athens Tech. So that's at least the data I get from 4 o'clock on, Jack. But it's, again, I think that's why we've made some changes and made some adjustments. Really optimistic about this numbers, and again, this is going to change again because House Bill 132 really makes the whole district a career academy, right? Because they can go right to Athens Tech and take their courses. So we were working today with Dan Smith. We feel really good. We signed our memorandum of understanding about what that would mean. It's going to be pretty hard probably to change schedules this year, but I could see a tremendous impact with House Bill 132, because here's what happens. When we sign the petition, right now, let me change it. Right now, we contract with Athens Tech for the courses. Next year, or actually starting this year with these kids, as we sign them up, the state pays for them, and also gives us FTEs. So the whole Career Academy concept that we paid for is really going to get paid for the state. I think we're working a joint venture that if there's some low enrollment courses that we want to keep, we will help subsidize them because we're really good partners. But in essence, our students are going to be able to access this full Career Academy college program at really a cost of the state.
So then, well, this wasn't the question I wanted to ask. Let me ask my original question. I know one of the changes you said about the exit exams, exit exams. When we go back and redo
the
this.
graduation test?
Graduation test. And this is a little bit left field, but do we know or have a number of how many students took advantage of House Bill 91?
Yes, I sent that to you.
Yeah, I think it was
Could you tell me again?
122. I think it was 122.
Okay.
Yeah. Oh, man.
More than
That's
that.
good.
Yeah,
I can
more than
live
that.
with
It was more than that.
No.
Yeah. It was
It's in
more
my
than that.
email too, so.
Yeah, it was sent out on email.
You'll get the most recent. We'll hold that thought. We'll come back to it. How about that before we end? But it was somewhere toward 200.
Okay.
And so, I mean, Marcia's done a really good job, and, we've done everything possible to ensure that those students who met the requirements of that got their diploma. You have to remember that if you didn't meet the if you didn't have enough credits,
Yeah, right.
you couldn't take the credits and then retroactive. You had to come in, I had the credits, I didn't pass the test, you get a diploma. I think what we did is we did reinstate some of the absentee credits because we had done before, so that helped some when we took away credits because of our attendance policy, which we eliminated because kids who were passing courses lost credits. And we reinstored those credits for all of our kids, and we found some when they came back actually met the requirements because we restored those credits, which we did for everybody else, because they had passed a course and lost a credit on non-attendance with no appeal or something. So.
And my second question, if the state does take over the funding here, what does that do for our budget as our general, or does it
Just
do
for
anything?
SB,
Or does it do anything?
Well, no, in fact, it's probably a great advantage for us. Because what will happen is we will get the FTE count for students, and so we'll get the money, and then the state will pay for them to go to college.
How long will that last?
I don't think we've ever had a plan that way.
112 diplomas was written.
Yeah.
294 petitions received, 57 denied, 20 pending, 217 approved.
Approved, so we had 217 that were approved.
Yeah.
There was an email July 22nd. Just not
Look,
long
I
ago.
got a new thing here. And
Don't you worry about it. I just wanted to
and
tell
I
you.
get what, and I ain't worried about it.
Okay.
That's why I asked. That's why I asked.
217 approved, I think. What's that?
231.
231, sorry, go. 231 kids have been approved to get kids, young adults, have been approved to get a diploma from House Bill 91, who are now consider themselves graduates.
Have they
It's a
already
good day.
been awarded?
What's that?
Haven't they already been awarded? Did I read that?
112 were awarded by
Yeah,
July
thought so.
22nd.
Right.
Good, okay, just checking.
And want you to know what we did so everyone knows. They received their high school diploma thanks to Dr. Tavernier and his team. The diplomas were the same as their diplomas. It's not something, right, Mark? Something different. So I thought Mark did a really good job, Dr. Tavernier, of bringing in a retired counselor who actually spent all the time, making sure we had the credits and going through them with a fine-tooth comb and screening people and providing information. And Marshall, I don't know, Marshall's probably still working on them out there somewhere.
Yes, he still works.
Yeah, but I'll tell you, Marshall has taken, this under his wing, and he has shepherded this process personally. I would say, and professionally, but one, to make sure that they get their diploma, but two, to make sure it's with the dignity they deserve. He's been pretty incredible. So, anyway, that's that. Okay. David?
I've got a question back to the
Charter
Academy.
Okay.
In terms of, I'm thinking like a goal of the number of students we're hoping to kind of get to. I was thinking it was like 200. I don't know if that was.
That's correct.
That's correct. Okay.
That's correct. But remember, we changed gears a different way when we changed the program. Whether it was some of the CTA programs, there was a real mixture of concepts, and the goal was to have 200. We never had 200. We started even with the get-go at 100, and we've been hovering around that. I think this is the first time we've seen a breakthrough. It's just been slow to catch on, I guess, people wanting to leave their schools, but we've been very successful this year. I tell you what, Lawrence Harris has been tremendous as being the new director, and our kids have been so well prepared when they've come in. And Dr. Gant's been there, and I think you've seen firsthand that there's a lot of excitement. We have everything in the morning. And Dr. Tavernier talking about it's nice. There's a lot of movement, a lot of people in that morning, and we only bus them once. I think kids feel really good. I go in the morning, I come back in the afternoon, I have my activities. I don't get into conflict. So there's kind of some dynamics we're evaluating right now, but jumping up 30 or 40 kids this year, and that still potential of growing is real interesting. But again, I think the question about Career Academy is not going to be a Career Academy because it's all going to go into SB 132. It's all going to be on Move On When Ready, and Career Academy is just going to be one-sided.
You said all the morning, everything's in the morning now, is that?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. And it seems to, Dr. Tavernier seems to, at least our first impression, seems to work pretty well for kids. That they seem to be comfortable because they're set in the morning, they go back in school in the afternoon. Because what we're finding is seniors don't want to leave their school. They want to be participating in their home school. And so it's hard to get them a shift to think, I got to get careers and go over to the Career Academy. But it seems to be working now that over in the morning, works pretty well, and they go back in the afternoon, they seem to enjoy,
And
kind of all of those
that
pieces.
does address a scheduling problem that I've had a couple parents talking about in the past about AP classes. Where people were trying to schedule, if they had an AP class in the morning and one in the afternoon, how could they go to the career academy? So
Yeah, I think
so that makes scheduling at the high schools easier.
Yeah, it's been easier on that fourth block. It's that middle block that was troubling. So far, so good.
Just one last question. The SAT, that I just found that interesting. I know like the ACT, you can take that instead of the Compass test.
And SAT.
Oh, and
SAT, both. Okay. And just an FYI, the Compass test is going away.
Oh, is it?
Oh, really?
We don't know what's coming next, but I believe that's correct, Dr. Tavernier, that we've been informed that the Compass test will no longer be developed, no longer be administered, because it's no longer going to be on the market, I guess.
January 1st.
Yeah.
Wow.
So we have another change. Okay. So at this point, I'm asking to submit this petition 1 year only. You're right. It needs work. It's got some pieces in there that are not valid, but I think at this point we just want to hold on to that till we see what unfolds.
Okay. I got one extra question, and I do appreciate Dr. Lanu for doing that so quickly. But it says that, like under employment matters, the Clarke County School District shall be the employer of all employees at the charter school. That's not the case.
That's not the case.
So that's
right.
That whole language is
That's right.
kaput.
That's right.
So
And,
you can renew a charter that's that
yeah,
so far out
yeah,
of kilter?
Yeah. I mean, in essence, it's just a matter of how we structure it. That we have students that are enrolled in the Career Academy that are taught with our teachers. We put them under Classic City High School because that way they can be supervised by Dr. Cole. If I put them under the Career Academy the way we're structured before, that would require a principal with a certification to evaluate them. We said that didn't make sense. So really what we've done is we've taken the Career Academy and the Classic City and we've overlapped that section so that the Career Academy students who need a high school English, they're taught by a high school English teacher that, so theoretically, part of them is there.
Okay.
But it's just under Classic City.
But it's a high school English teacher at their school, their home school?
Well, no, it's from Classic City High School.
Okay.
So in other words, if you need an English class, I'm just saying you might have 10 students who need that course for Classic City, and you might have 7 that are at the Career Academy in the morning, and they want to take their English there, and so they take it.
That kind of raises a kind of a point. I know at the Classic City at one time there was, teachers were more facilitators than they were actually. That was my understanding. They would use the computer software.
It's blended learning now.
Yeah. So that's how these kids are getting.
Sure. And by the way, even if it was not, the kids will still access their curriculum digitally. I mean, it has the same robustness, but most of it is a blending learning model.
Right. All the teachers there are certified in the field.
And they're certified. So whether I use digital tools solely or partially, it really doesn't matter.
Okay, we've had the questions, comments on item 26, and of course, we're getting ready to vote on extending the charter term of the Athens Community Career Academy for 1 year. All in favor? That's a unanimous vote. Motion passed. Dr. Lanu, item 27.
I recommend approval of personnel recommendations and addenda.
Okay, the recommendations on the personnel recommendations that was on your iPad and also the addendum at your place there. Okay, I need a motion on that. Moved by Ms. Williams. I got a second on that. Second by Mr. Payne. All in favor?
Wait, can you have a question?
If it's not pertaining to, well, you can ask the question, but we
Okay, let
can't.
me just, in terms of, is it, how many of those 160 teachers that we're talking about, how many of those teachers were replacements? Do we know roughly? Versus how many were in new positions that were not there last year?
I would not want to give a figure because unless I know exactly. I think the point, the overarching theme on this is where our teachers are going. I mean, and what happens is you're going to find that a lot of teachers that we have actually move in for short periods of time and move. They have spouses here, but there's a whole sundry reasons of why our teachers leave. and all because they choose to do that. So our turnover rate, which is right now, I'm figured out this year is around 9 or 10%. It used to be 22%. So, but again, I think there's some other dynamics that occur in that. And that really is that when jobs are shrinking, people weren't moving. I mean, there's another reality that also we have a job market where jobs are opening, people are seeing actually, they're seeing advancements, so they're getting different positions administratively, but those are starting to open up where before they were shutting down. So I think there's another dynamic.
So you say it used to be 9%, I mean, it used to be 22%.
We were about 21%. 2 years ago, we're at 9. I'm not sure what we were this past year, but what's that? We can find. We'll calculate. I'm just saying that the drastic change, and I want to say what we're this year. The drastic change, I believe, occurred because there was a lot of downsizing. Do you know what I mean? There was a lot of moving people into different positions, and people were saying, "I'm not going to move. I've got experience here, and if I move to another system, I'm kind of low end." So I think in that volatility market, as much as I like to say I think teachers want to work here. I think the other dynamic was nobody wanted to move.
Thank you, right. Okay, all in favor of personnel recommendations? Okay, got it. Unanimous vote on that motion passed. All righty, motion to adjourn.
No.
Moved by Ms. Davis, second by Mr. Wade.
No, I had a comment I wanted to make.
Well, hold on, let me carry this motion, then you
Okay.
make your comments. We got a motion from Ms. Davis. All righty, I need a second on that. Second from Mr. Davis. All in favor of adjournment? Okay, motion passed. Now, Mr. Wade, go ahead and make your comment.
No, I want to thank the superintendent for allowing our administrators to come before the board tonight and to let us know exactly where you're going, and we understand that you know where you're going, and we appreciate that. Secondly, this reminds me of how, Dr. Lowe, we used to do things. It used to be that at the beginning of the school year, all of the teachers, the board was invited to meet the new teachers, and we would meet the new teachers. And one year we was over at the University of Georgia. And the other thing is that you had 1,200 teachers coming together. We used to do that.
Yeah.
All the teachers would come together in one central place, and they would have an outstanding speaker to motivate them, to get them charged up to get ready to go.
Yeah.
That was good.
Okay, have a nice weekend.
Thank you, everyone.